Hi, I wanted to talk about today some large knife techniques. In a lot of instances you can use knives, large knives, like you do small ones. Okay, and of course you can use large knives like large knives as well. All right, so I've got some wood here. Here's a technique that I like to use, and of course other people use them too. All right, and in this instance here, okay, now if you're left-handed, you're just going to do it on the other side. And usually, okay, we can choke back with on our handle here. All right. Now we just stay in front of the way the blade is moving. So we'll just say that I just want to clean this up, and I'm going to use this for, I don't know, some type of campcraft, okay? And we just follow through, okay? Now there's that. Now let's trim this up down here. All right. Now there's this method here too. We can sort of. This one's a little more dangerous because this here is, I only recommend using this for like short chops. You don't want to be hitting anything like this because you're squared off with whatever it is that you're cutting. And you can go through here, okay? The chances are slim, but usually wherever you're using knives like this, you're not near any type of help, okay? So in general, I would just keep this here to shorter movements, okay? But like I said, this technique right here, I really like a lot, okay? Because it's safe and it's out of the way, okay? Let's try it again. See what we got here. We got some big pieces here. Now this is green wood, and a lot of this would be indicative. Okay, indicative of what you're going to be using to make certain campcraft. All right. Now in general, large blades like this, I would say I wouldn't use them on things any bigger than the size of your wrist. Okay, so about wrist size things. All right. Let's cut this down just a little bit. And once again, we're going to use this technique. All right. Turn it a little bit. Okay. And that's all. All right. Let's do it again now. Let's pretend that this is firewood. Okay. That this is a hardened piece of wood. Now you can chop like this, which I've done many times. But you got to be careful because you're squared off to whatever it is that you're cutting. So you can have this potential. Instead, we can just do the same thing again. Now remember, we're working behind us. All right, we're just going to let the blade do the work for us. Okay, so let's try some different things here. All right, let's say that we want to make some notches. Okay, for a pot hanger. Okay. Now, of course, we can lay our knife across, okay, and we can baton to make our pot hanger knots, right? We want the X in there, okay? Sometimes I like to use this method too, all right? Just as you would split wood with an axe or hatchet, okay? We're just going to come in, we're going to make our X. All right? So I made my X in here. This is for our pot hanger notch. Like I said, a lot of people, okay, don't think that you can use knives in this fashion. Now, sometimes instead of pushing the knife, we can push the media too. So now our blade's not in motion. That's why a lot of people like to baton rather than split wood with an axe, because with batoning you put wood into motion. You're not swinging the blade. So there is a more of a degree of safety. Okay, we're going to use the chest lever grip, just as we would with our smaller knives. All right, we're going to come through. All right, and we will clean up our same techniques, okay? Now, provided that you have a good knife, and I do think some people who are not pro big knife, they don't sometimes have a good large knife to do stuff with, because I think if they did, they would be pretty shocked at what they can do. You can do a lot of your small work with this. I mean, I am no expert in any of this, believe me, okay? But yet, I'm not having any issue here with this, and I'm talking and I'm leisurely, okay, using this knife in this fashion. And then we're going to make our back cut here. So we hold it on the, all right. So I do hear a lot of people say, well, you know, you can use a big knife to do small knife tasks, but it's very difficult to do large knife tasks with a small knife. And let's say that it's true, okay, which I do believe, excuse me, it to be. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but let's have a look right there, okay? There's our pot hanger notch, okay? Of course, you'd make many more on there, and you'd use the same techniques to harvest the wood to get it. So you can take a small knife. It's just here because I did have this in my pocket, or on my belt. You can use this, all right, and you can baton around things, all right. You can tension cut things, all right. You're really putting your knife through some abuse, okay. And I think I had stated in a previous video that you know, you can load a 357 so hot, okay, 357 Magnum so hot that you can potentially do damage to the gun, or you can take a 44 Magnum and load it down a bit, okay, and now you're not risking any damage to the firearm. And that's sort of how I feel a lot too. If I'm going to be doing stuff, and I know I'm going to be doing stuff where I'm going to be taking down some limbs and shelter pole stuff, sometimes these smaller knives, sure, you can do it. But you know what? You can do it with this too. All right? I can bend a tree, okay? I can bend a tree and tension cut. Usually what I do is I just bend the tree and just give it a little shot like that. And the weight of the knife combined with the tension does it. So, I know that a lot of things compete for weight when we're talking about, how heavy your knives and stuff are going to be. And, but try to think there are such things as good weight and there's such things as bad weight. And depending on what you're doing, a knife like this BK9, which I find superb for doing exactly what I'm doing, okay? Shelter and firecraft, things like that. And you'll find that knives like this BK9 work well, okay? And they can do all your small stuff, all right? They can do all your small stuff just like your big, just like your smaller knives can, okay? No different. Let's try it again, okay? Simple. Okay, look at that. All right, I can get right up there and I can choke up. Of course, this would be a big pot hanger, a stick for a pot hanger, but all right, I can get it up there, choke up there, and get this knife right where I need it. All right, without any issues. Okay, so applying the same techniques, okay? Chest lever grip works too, all right? And you can get some really good cuts because you have that blade to really get in there. I mean, you can cut pretty good with that. All right, now you can also you know, make your notches like this too. Let me show you this here. Of course, if the wood's too big or whatever to use this method, you can use a baton, and you won't risk the damage as much to your knife using a larger knife like this. Okay, and if I want to get in there and clean it up, once again, chest lever. Let's get it in there. Let's work that blade just as you would a small knife. And I know I keep saying it over and over again, but it is true. And most of us, all right, most of us carry a pocket knife or a secondary knife that is on the smaller side. Okay, I have a Spyderco Paramilitary 2 on me, and I always have this case large amber bone Stockman. So if it's something that I can't get to, even with the tip of this, all right, I can use the smaller knife and get in there. In general, you will find that you don't usually need to make such intricate notches that you can't get in there with a well-made large knife. Okay, because you can choke up and push this against your forearm. Okay, you can choke up. Let me see, where am I? Okay, and you can do different things. Okay, whatever it is that you're doing. If you're trying to do something very delicate, scrape something down, maybe use your tip a little bit more in there, you can still choke up. Okay, you can choke up and cut things. You can support your knife like this, and watch out, you don't want to cut your armpit. Okay, and you can move your knife around. All right, now just be careful. You don't want to be splitting anything and whacking yourself in the noggin with the end of your knife. Okay, now for splitting's sake, let's apologize if you can't see it, what I'm doing, but let's say that this is a piece of kindling. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing as you would with an axe. You can do this on a stump, on a tree root, on some downed, a down tree, or a standing one. Same method. Okay. Make sure your fingers and stuff are out of the way. You can turn the knife a little bit. Okay. Same method to do our kindling. All right. Let's do it again. Now notice I'm not putting anything. I'm not stressing anything out. All right, nothing that I'm doing is putting any undue stress on a large knife like this. Now, you could take some of your smaller knives and you may be putting them in some stress, under some stress, doing things like that if you're splitting wood on a regular basis. Move some of this out of the way so I don't fall. So these are just a handful of some of the things you can do. I will most likely have another part to big knife usage, and we'll go through some other things that you can do with a large knife. So, like I said, get yourself, if you're interested in trying a large knife, get yourself a decent large knife, okay? One with good cutting geometry. And you'll find that most of the things you can do with a small knife, you're going to be able to do with that big knife. And some of the smaller tasks you would do with a half axe or a hatchet, you're going to be able to do with that large knife. And it can eliminate some of the tools that you bring by being able to use your knife, with some prowess. Thanks for watching, and like I said, I most likely will have a part 2, maybe even a part 3, and show you some different knife techniques. Thanks again.